Is Roman Reigns ready to return to the WWE and confront the new and out-of-control bloodline? But before we get into that, I'm Rob, the Wrestling Old Head. You have entered the portal of pro wrestling. Pro wrestling all the time. I'm pulling everything out of the portal from the past, the present, and the future. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Roman Reigns, is he returning sooner rather than later? This past Friday on WWE SmackDown, Jacob Fatu made his much anticipated debut for the WWE and for the Bloodline by attacking not just Cody Rhodes, the WWE Undisputed Champion, but Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, well-decorated superstars. So if that is not a vote of confidence that they believe Jacob Fatu will be a difference maker, then I don't know what is. His debut is up there with one of the most dominant debuts in recent memory. Everybody is talking about it, and he is setting himself and standing out as one of the most dangerous members of this new bloodline. A lot of people were wondering if we would see Jacob Fatu or Hala Tala Tonga, the name that apparently Hikuleu will be getting upon his arrival in the WWE after the WWE filed a trademark for Tala Tonga. Instead, we got Jacob Fatu. I remember thinking a lot of the times when they were tossing around whether or not Jacob Fatu was going to show up is if he was going to actually end up being someone that sided with Roman Reigns. That was something I thought would be more interesting from a storyline perspective. Roman Reigns going to the streets and pulling out a troubled, dangerous member of the bloodline in Jacob Fatu, somebody that was barred from everywhere to battle against the Tongas and Solo Sikoa. Originally, that was something that I was tossing around, and seeing that Jacob has joined Solo, Tongaloa, and Tama Tonga, it actually makes a lot more sense them going in this direction, and I'm glad they went in that direction, because the truth is the new bloodline needed something, a spice, a click to be more formidable and to see themselves as more of a threat. And with someone like Jacob Fatu, if you are familiar in the slightest at all of the matches that he's had on the independent circuit for GCW and MLW, among others, including the Reality of Wrestling, which is run by Booker T, then you are familiar with the fact that Solo, Tala, and Tama and Tongaloa are brawlers, but Jacob Fatu will be the workhorse. The guy has an amazing array of maneuvers to add to the bloodline. He is a dominant professional wrestler, and the guy has got an agility for his size that is unseen of. I mean, he does space flying tiger drops and springboard moonsaults, and he's got a rolling spear that is out of this world. I wonder if they're going to allow him to use it. It is definitely worth checking out. His moveset is going to thrill a lot of the WWE universe. And him showing up also, to me, I feel like it's going to bite Solo Sikoa in the long run. Solo prematurely took over the bloodline and is obviously not ready to be the head of the table, and it fits the trajectory of the story. And if you did notice, when Jacob Fatu showed up, there was a little bit of hesitation to throw their ones up from Tama and Tongaloa, cluing us in that Solo may not have told the Tongas that he got Jacob to come into the bloodline. It's a very interesting detail, and like I said, lately, the WWE, they don't do anything for no reason. Everything has a purpose, and everything is laid out carefully with a lot of detail and deserves our attention and maybe more than one viewing. And that was something that I noticed. They very much looked at each other and seemed hesitant to throw the ones up after Jacob Fatu and Solo were throwing up their ones. Very interesting storyline beat, which is interesting because it seems like Solo is running a very uncoordinated ship. And I can see if they brought Roman back in, that at this point, the way that the new bloodline is set up, that we may see Roman reunite with the Usos and possibly bring Sami Zayn back into the fold to form the OG bloodline. We already got, one of the best promos that I've seen. When CM Punk and Paul Heyman are in the middle of the ring cutting a promo, it deserves our undivided attention. And I've watched it about 3 times. When Paul Heyman asked for the favors, he got the one favor out. And when the new bloodline had shown up and was giving CM Punk an ultimatum, when CM Punk looked over his shoulder and said, "What was that second favor, Paul?" And Paul said, "Take me with you." That to me is cinema. It was so well done. And it had the 14,000 people in attendance on the edge of their seat. I'm not sure how many people were in the building, but it seemed like it was a pretty full building. And they had their full attention the whole time. CM Punk and Paul Heyman, very nice, very well done promo. And I also believe, and this is something of an aside here, but I believe Solo is doing a pretty good job, and he's getting a lot better and a lot more comfortable with facial expressions and the way he's doing his promo. When he told Paul that Roman was not coming back a couple of weeks ago, it was well done. It was really solid, but that's just my opinion. But going back to it, Paul Heyman obviously does not want to be a part of the OG bloodline. So when the Civil War actually starts to take root and Roman is back and he has got his OG bloodline going against the new bloodline, Paul is obviously going to take residence with Roman and his OG bloodline. But who is going to then take the place of the wise man in the new bloodline? To me, it's a no-brainer. Rikishi. Rikishi Fatu should be the head of the table, should be the new wise man for the new bloodline, and he will add an entirely different layer to what the wise man has added to the bloodline thus far. He, to me, would come off as a mafia boss, as a mob mentality, and that will show the grit, and that will show a lot of the street mentality of the new bloodline, the uncoordinated attacks, things that are happening for no reason, taking some of the rules and throwing them out the window. That is what I would see with Rikishi coming in as the new wise man for the new bloodline. It's something to pay attention to. And Rikishi as the mob boss is responsible for the recruiting and being a different wise man. It would be amazing. Just stay tuned for that. That's what I think would happen. I think it would add a different layer to it. And the back and forth between Rikishi and Paul Heyman, plus the history of Rikishi doing everything for The Rock. I mean, the story is right there, and it's layered, and it's like long-term storytelling at its finest. Rikishi doing it for The Rock. I mean, come on, if they did that if Rikishi got in the ring and said, "Rock, I did this for you," anybody that is a historian in professional wrestling, or at least for the WWE, would, mega pop right there. That's a mega pop. Look for that. Zilla and Journey Fatu are also out there as well, and they are really young, and they can add a lot to this story. This is something that should be paid attention. I don't know if Zilla or Journey are completely ready. Zilla is farther along than Journey. Journey, I believe, is younger, but Zilla is a very popular pickup for them. I don't know if he needs to go to the NXT first, but be aware of that as well. I don't know how expansive they're trying to get this bloodline story to be. I don't know if they're going to keep it 4-on-4, but with Halatala Tonga coming in soon, it could go 5-5, and that leaves me with a toss-up. I have no idea who Roman would get to be the 5th member if they add Halatala Tonga to the new bloodline. It would be interesting. And I don't think his name is going to be Halatala Tonga, but every time I hear Tala Tonga, I think of Halatala Tonga, like I'm Teddy Long and I'm doing a Hala Hala tag match or something like that. But hey, I digress. Jacob Fatu in the bloodline. He's got Jim Cornette's seal of approval. It's going to be interesting to see how they start his push. It seems to me with the parallels, he is going to be the Braun Breaker of SmackDown. And it is very obvious. The guy's speed in the ring, the way he hits the ropes, the way that he's got that intensity, he is like the Braun Breaker of SmackDown. And I cannot wait to see him in the ring showing off his moveset. He is, as much of a throwback to the old Fatu, where it's Rikishi Fatu or Sam Fatu, those guys, he's a complete throwback. He is a complete Umaga throwback, right? Right in front of our face. This guy is the closest that we've gotten to a new Umaga in the WWE since it's happened. And these are guys that I'm telling you are going to be the top of the top in the WWE going forward. So it looks to me that I'm very excited to see where this storyline is going to progress, but it is obvious to me that we are going to see something with the new bloodline and the OG bloodline coming very soon. I don't know, because they've already had Solo Sikoa against Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. I don't know if they're going to go for that as the main event of SummerSlam. If they do, look for it to be a stipulation, and definitely look for Roman Reigns to return at that SummerSlam. But what do you think? Do you think Roman Reigns is going to get the OG bloodline back together, Sami Zayn and Jimmy and Jey Uso with Paul Heyman? And will Rikishi be the wise man for the new bloodline? And if so, is Tala Tonga going to join the OGs or the new bloodline? And who would be the fifth member for the old bloodline? You guys let me know, and let me know if you think you know what's going to be the SummerSlam main event. I want to hear it all, you guys. It goes down in the comments. Thanks for everybody that subscribed and hitting the thumbs up on the way out. Couldn't have done this without you guys. And more coming up soon for the present, and a whole lot more from the past that we're going to be bringing forth, as well as a lot of exciting news for the future of the Wrestling Old Heads portal of pro wrestling. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you real soon.